What's going on, everybody? I'm just doing a quick update for you guys. Tell you what's kind of going on around me and kind of give you the basic story of what's happening today and the last couple days. I showed you guys that fencing video of me fencing. There's been a lot more of that, but it's me too frustrated and pissed off to actually film it. We've had older trees that have fallen on our fence a couple times and they keep sneaking out and going after apples. So I fenced 3 different spots, and all of Sunday I was basically chopping down trees and refencing areas so that our cattle aren't all over the neighbor's field. On that note, I think we've got it patched up, knock on wood. I've cut down any branches that kind of reach over so that if it won't fall on our fence and allow them to kind of jump over. The other thing is our cattle have really strong necks. I don't know if that's all cattle or just ours or unique to the breed, but they can put their neck with weight on barbed wire like it's nothing. Like they'll just literally stretch it if they can. So you imagine, if you guys don't farm, you don't have an idea. Imagine, picture a thumbtack, maybe actually a little bit harder and a little bit wider than a thumbtack. And those are all stretched across a wire, and that's barbed wire feels like. Now imagine putting 200 pounds or your own body weight against that on your neck. That's what they can do, like nothing. So they'll stretch over and they'll grab apples or they'll grab long grass. And yeah, it's a bit of a pain in the butt. But what else is going on? I've started feeding a little bit just to kind of keep them at bay and keep them so that they don't lose any weight, because I'm starting to go into fall and I want to get rid of my calves soon. So I've been started to feed, not much, maybe a bale a week, just to kind of keep them so their weights look good and everything looks good on them and they got that nice shiny coat. Because cattle prices are down, so you got to make them look as good as possible before you ship them so that you get the top dollar. You normally do that, but this year you do that a little bit more than normal, or you really try and work to get that, because it's just it's a little rough for your calf pairs this year on prices. So that's what I'm working on. What else can I tell you guys? So I took this off when I was doing second cut baling, and I realized something that didn't really happen that much last time I did it, but this time it did really bad. And that is, if you notice that this up here, that little pipe, it goes on a V like that, and it sits. Well, if it's sticky around that, it won't want to come up. I do not know why. It will not pop off the loader, and I didn't know if I was doing something wrong, but it seems like that is a common issue. I talked to my mechanic, and I finally did get it off. It just took frickin' forever to do. But I did get it off. I still got to put this back on and then pick up my last bale that I was advertising with. And what else? All my hay sold. I told you guys that prior. I'm still waiting on some money from a guy, but that's frickin' life on the hay. But if you guys can see that across, the leaves are starting to change, so you know fall is finally here. This section right here, this section is what we've used for years for sorting. That gate, we basically push them through that gate and we run them across into the barnyard, and we try and get them inside. So we try and get them all inside this door, inside the barnyard, or inside the barn here, and sort them inside here. It's a bit of a rodeo, to say the least. I don't like doing it at all, only because it never goes relatively smoothly. I'd like to invest in the next couple years in a handling area that's better equipped. The issue with this one, and some of the things that I'd like to resolve, is first, the concrete ends right here. So this area, if you imagine, it isn't much, but it's a good strip. Imagine it being November, late November, and it's rained for a week and a half. So this turns into a slop fest. So all this manure, everything, it just gets slippery, and you can't clear it off 100% because what happens is it's concrete. So the concrete becomes very slippery and a little bit of manure under their feet and they start slipping. And you don't want that because it can damage your cattle, it can damage your calves, and it doesn't work well. So I leave a little bit loose on the ground and then I kind of move them around, but it isn't rounded in the corners, so they can get caught in corners and they can feel pinched. And if you ever have cattle that are caught in corners, they like to do crazy things. So you don't want that. You want them to be rounded corners. I'm looking into creating or copying what they do in the rodeo circuit for sorting. And it's kind of like a V, like a funnel section that's got a separating gate in between. I'm going to take a picture of it, or find a picture of it and show you guys. I'd like to do that behind this barn. Behind this barn, there's about 3 acres. I'd like to put that in there and that would be our sorting area, and then separate that way. I am looking to go a little bit of an old school route, and that's to go to horses with sorting, because one of my concerns is that our cattle are very large because they have Holstein genetics in them. So they're taller than a lot of the beef breeds. So if you're moving them, they're not as apt to move. Like I'm not tiny, but I'm 5'10", and if they don't feel that I'll push them or that I'm stronger than them, they don't want to move. So a horse, you have that height, and they kind of get that herd mentality, and they feel that it's taller and bigger than them, so they need to get out of its way naturally. So I'm looking at doing that, and that way I have better control and it's a lot safer. The other thing is I'm looking at a calf catcher that'll be for catching calves, for tagging, and for castrating. The issue for me is our area, or my farm is set up as a grass-fed operation, and I love that and it works great. I would never change that. But with that, we don't really have a strip that's intensively used. So sorting like this and also tagging is a very big struggle for us. So normally you'd run them through a cram system if you have them in a tight area, or even if you're feeding in a small area, and it's easy. But for us, we don't have that. So you're chasing cattle over 40 acres. So it's very difficult to do. And I think this calf catcher might resolve that issue so that I can tag very easily. I don't have to worry too much because a lot of the calves are coming in late spring, so I'm not having the snow issue for winter, because I know that was kind of dawning in my mind a little bit, because I don't want to get an ATV stuck. I don't know if you guys have seen it, what a calf catcher looks like. It's basically a box attached to an ATV, and it's got a door that opens, and you basically run it beside the calf, and the door opens, the calf goes inside the box, and it protects you from the moms. I'm looking into that, and I think that might be a good solution for us. And once we can do that system and have that knocked down, I can start selling beef again. We haven't sold beef in, I would say, almost 5-6 years. And the reason is we can't clip our males, and you don't want any. It gives a bad taste if you eat the males if they aren't castrated. So we've saved all our heifers, but we've had to ship the bulls because we didn't have the way to handle them in the proper way. So I'd like to get to that, and then that becomes more profitable for our business. And moving forward, I think it'll be a better situation, because a lot of farmers fear marketing. I do not. I come from a marketing background, so it isn't as daunting or scary for me, because I know that we can. Here, get my finger out of the way. I know that we can move the animals. I know that we can move a high quality beef product in my area. I'm surrounded, not surrounded, but to the south of me, I have a very big, large metropolitan city that is very financially savvy. So they look and require and are always on the lookout for high quality product. High quality food is very on trend right now. Any of you guys know your organics and all that type of stuff, it's very trendy right now. Will I go fully certified organic? No. I won't, because in Canada there's you have to get certified for that, and the tagging and everything like that, and the checks, it's all charged, and in my mind it's just a tax. I don't believe in it at all. If they really wanted us to produce high quality food like that and actually make it so that it was about us and not about making money, they wouldn't charge those ridiculous prices for checking and certifying all the time. So I will just provide a grass-fed product at a high quality. I forgot to update you guys on this quick. I still have to take these blades off. I'm gonna get it done by someone else, not myself, only because it's a really weird nut on the connection to the pan that spins the blades, and there's only one side with a nut, so there's no real way to crank it. You have to torch it off, and I don't have a torch, so that's on the update list. I need to get this working, mow down some small trees, as well as clean up any corners on the hayfield so that they don't produce weeds and make it worse on me. So that's one thing I still got to get done. The other thing that I still got to get done is I'm going to do a bit of cleaning in here. This is normally where I store the 65 and the 35. Right now, what is that? Right now, it's kind of full of crap, so I'm trying to get it out. Well, I'm going to be bleeping a lot today. Yes, so I got that. I have the 35. I decided to put flex line on it, on part of the fuel line, and I think I tightened it too much. Anywho, I got to get that going, so that 35 back inside before winter. Both these tractors have chains that go on. I don't really use them that much in the winter. What I do is I keep the 65 only because it's a spare. The 65 has electrical issues. It always frickin' drains batteries. It's a bit of a pain, but if you have them as a backup, let's say the Landini isn't working for some reason, I can put hay in. And a beef industry or a beef cattleman's biggest fear is you can't put hay in. And it's hard asking for help from people, because in the winter, everyone's thin because they're not making any money off anything. They're just more or less feeding their herd, and they're trying to make money wherever they can. So they're doing whatever they need to do. Some guys do snow plowing. Some guys have their own little businesses to plow snow. Some guys work as contractors in the winter, but there's not a lot of money around, and they're pretty busy trying to find money wherever they can to keep everything floating. So I don't like asking unless I really need to. So that's why I make sure that both the 35 and the 65 are running. The 35 struggles if you try and put bales in with it, because it's too small. A little story about this tractor. My grandpa's had this tractor since he had this farm. They got it maybe, I want to say 2 or 3 years in. I think 2 years in, when they got this farm in 55. So it's a bit of a memento. That it's got a sentimental value. Another one that I'd love to be able to do, but it's going to take some time. For all you big John Deere fans, this is back in the days when we could afford John Deere. This is a John Deere AR. This is one of the first tractors we had too. I'd love to get it restored and get it back and do parades and stuff with it. It's just I just gotta find some time and some money to do it. So that's another cool thing. You guys are probably tired of me jotting along or chatting up your ear, so I'll let you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe.